Hello all you lovely people and welcome to another video of mine. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of the reasons as to why you would want to buy a PS5 Pro and some reasons as to why you may want to skip it, and I'm also going to share my personal opinion as to what am I going to be doing. Am I going to buy it? Am I not going to buy it? Now, instead of going with a spec by spec analysis of what the PS5 Pro can bring to the table, I'm not going to go down that route. Instead, I am going to take a common sense approach as to why you should buy or not buy the PS5 Pro. And I'm going to be rather quick with this one. But in case you want to grab your popcorn, feel free to. And let's get started, folks. Okay, the very first reason as to why you should even consider buying the PS5 Pro is because of the GPU power that it brings. Now, I know I said that I'm not going to get into the technical specs, but you cannot ignore the GPU power that the PS5 Pro brings to the table. It definitely brings about performance improvements, and games are going to run not just buttery smooth. I love using that word, or words, buttery smooth. But they are also going to look sharper thanks to the upgraded GPU and the performance that it brings. So this will immediately translate to your games looking like a visual feast, which brings me probably to the second reason as to why you may want to consider buying the PlayStation 5 Pro. And if you prioritize visual fidelity, then definitely PS5 Pro makes a lot of sense. And to me, what's important here, the third reason as to why you may want to consider this, is because of the storage option you now get with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Yes, now this device will come with 2 terabytes of internal SSD, and the PlayStation 5 was known for its superb SSD performance. The trend will definitely continue with the PlayStation 5 Pro as well, and you're going to get a beast of an SSD performance when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro. And not just that, you're not limited to the OG 825, I think it was 825 or 865 GB that you were getting on the PlayStation 5. Now you're going to be getting 2 terabytes. Obviously, some of it will go towards the OS, but there is still going to be ample storage lying around for you to download all your games. But, there is a catch here. Now that the games will focus more on visual fidelity, there may be a slight chance, not a slight chance in fact, there may be a chance that the games may even increase in terms of their size. I'll give you an example. For instance, if a game generally came around 60 GB, then probably that game would now be around 70 to 75 GB. So you would definitely need more storage space. And it makes sense that they've given 2 terabytes of storage on the PlayStation 5 Pro. At least they have been generous with that, and you have to give them credit where it's due. So here are some of the reasons where I'll probably think about getting a PlayStation 5 Pro. There's some reasons where I would not be looking at getting the PlayStation 5 Pro at all. Let's quickly talk about them as well, and I'll give you my personal opinion. Now, this one's not a shocker or a surprise. The PlayStation 5 Pro is an expensive device. So it ain't cheap, brothers. It's gonna cost around $700 US, and there are some accessories that you would need to probably get along with that as well, taking that price tag even further high up. Now, if you're in the US, you're still fortunate, because if you're in the EU, then you may actually have to shell out 700 euros for this device. That's a bomb of a price. So it definitely carries a very hefty, very hefty price tag. And it's a significant investment compared to the PlayStation 5, because the PlayStation 5 was also an expensive device. But here, they've taken it up many notches in terms of the price. So it is an expensive device. Even though it's expensive, you still have to do some compromises in terms of gaming. Now, what do I mean by that exactly? It's not like the PlayStation 5 Pro will now come with the plethora of graphical options that you get with a PC. Because if you are a PC user, you have so many graphical options that you can fiddle around with. Here, if you have a PlayStation 5, you know that generally there are two options, which is a fidelity mode and a performance mode. There are some games that even take advantage of a balanced mode. Games like Horizon, for instance. So I don't think it's gonna get graphical setting options like a PC. So you are still gonna be limited to those number of options that were previously there. They might throw in probably one or two more. So maybe if it was a couple of options, it might go up to 5 options by focusing on graphics, by focusing on a balanced approach and stuff like that. So the bottom line is this, that you will still have to compromise on the amount of settings that you have. Now, the other thing is that PlayStation 5 is still a powerful device. And it's not like PlayStation 5 Pro is gonna cannibalize PlayStation 5, because, hey, you talk about game library, the game library remains the same. So it's not like it's bringing about exclusive PlayStation 5 Pro titles that you should consider the PlayStation 5 Pro for. The titles are going to be the same. Same to same, copy to copy, Xerox copy. That means that there is no added incentive for you to get the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, these are some of the reasons as to why you may want to skip the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now that I've given you a few of the reasons as to why you should consider and why you should probably not consider the PlayStation 5 Pro, let me give you my 2 cents about PlayStation 5 Pro. My 2 cents finally. And I'll start off with a bit of a reality check for somebody who would love to game on the PlayStation 5 Pro here in India. It ain't available. Now, PlayStation 5 uses Wi-Fi 7. And it works on the 6 GHz wireless band, and that has still not been sanctioned by the government of India. Therefore, just like us Indians, there are a lot of other countries which may not have received this 6 GHz wireless band sanction. And all those countries, India included, are not going to be able to get their hands on the PlayStation 5 Pro. So even if I wanted to, I'm not saying that I want to, and I'll get to that in a bit, but even if I wanted to, I would not be able to buy it. Why? Because it's not going to be available here in India. I'm just going to overlay an article here by Business Today, where this article clearly states that it's not going to be available. So come November, when it launches, in fact, we're already in November, it's launched. A lot of people have already got their hands on the PlayStation 5 Pro in the US. Here in India, sob, no, it is not possible unless you're sourcing it from the US, and you have to pay an extra on top of the already high costs that we have spoken about in terms of the price tag. Now, let me tell you whether I would be looking at purchasing the PlayStation 5 Pro or not. The answer is a resounding no. And here are my reasons why. So this is probably the most important aspect of this video, this section. And I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Let me give you a little bit of a backdrop. I have mostly been a console gamer all my life. I always had an Xbox. I had an Xbox One, in fact, Xbox 360 that I bought in the UK. So I started with an Xbox 360, moved over to Xbox One, then an Xbox Series S, then an Xbox Series X. I also got my hands on the PlayStation 5. So I obviously did have the PlayStation 3, I had the PlayStation 4 Pro, and then finally the PlayStation 5. And as a person who already owns the Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5, it just doesn't make sense for me to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro. I do not deny the fact that PlayStation 5 Pro is going to be the definitive console to get for PlayStation users if you don't already own a PlayStation 5. Now, this is an important statement here. If you don't already own a PlayStation 4, or in fact, if you don't already own a PlayStation 5, then this is definitely the PlayStation 5 to get, the Pro version, that is. If you have a PlayStation 4 already, then obviously you'd be looking at upgrading. And for you to upgrade, it makes sense for you to upgrade from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5. But as a person who already owns the PlayStation 5, to me personally, it doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you why as well. I've been making a lot of videos on Lenovo Legion Go of late, and I purchased this handheld gaming PC for me. And here are a few of the reasons as to why I would not consider the PlayStation 5 Pro, personally, you end up realizing that screen size, the distance that you're viewing your game from also actually matters a lot. When I got my Lenovo Legion Go, I realized the importance of gaming on such a small device in 8-inch screen, although it's bigger than its competition, but it's still small compared to other devices like a laptop or a tablet, where you have 11 or 13-inch of screen estate. And on a screen that size, even when you game with 800p, and I kid you not, 800p, even with low settings, you're okay. And that's when, I realized that, hey, I am not going to get the PlayStation 5 Pro. Why? Because I already have a PlayStation 5. Now, I have connected my PlayStation 5 to a 4K TV with 120Hz refresh rate, but the distance that I view that from is a good 8 feet away. So when I'm viewing something from 8 feet away, it is not even going to make a difference to me. I would not even be able to make a difference whether it's 1440p or 4K. As a person, I can't make out the difference between 1440p and 4K. And the reason why I'm saying that is because on my previous laptop, which was the Asus ROG Strix G15 Advantage Edition from 2021, it had an RX 6800M. That's mostly a 1440p card. And on 1440p, I tried some titles, to take it up to 4K. I could not make out the difference when I sat 8 feet away from my television, which was 55 inches, by the way, just to give you context. So if you are a person like me who is seated away from your TV, a good 8 to 10 feet away from your television, whether you game on a PlayStation 5 or whether you game on a PlayStation 5 Pro is not going to make a staggering difference. In my personal opinion, please note, in my personal opinion. Yes, it would make a difference, however, if you're seated up close. Let's say you had a monitor of 27 inches and you were just 1 or 2 feet away from it. You were gaming from real up close. I would say then, yes, probably you'd be able to make out the difference, and PlayStation 5 Pro would be the console to get. Now, I would also like to state that I ended up buying a PC with the 4070 Super as well. So that is another reason as to why I personally would not be considering the PlayStation 5 Pro, because you remember how I spoke about the various graphical settings that you get in a PC. On the 4070 Super, I already have DLSS, and that is a superb upscaling software. So with that, I do not even need PSSR. They really have to do something about that name, by the way. So I'm absolutely fine with DLSS, and a lot of games also support AMD FSR, because AMD FSR is not exclusive to NVIDIA consoles only. It is available, NVIDIA PCs only, so it's available on all games. So I can take advantage of both DLSS and AMD FSR on my 4070 Super PC. So I have a 4070 Super PC, I have a Xbox Series X, I have a PlayStation 5, I even have the Lenovo Legion Go now. And for me, it does not make sense to get the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now think about it, even when you talk about gaming titles, the problem that PlayStation has now is the fact that all their PlayStation titles, exclusive titles, end up coming over to the PC. You talk about God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Zero Dawn. In fact, the remastered edition launched almost simultaneously on the PlayStation 5 and also on the PC. Uncharted, Last of Us, all these titles are no longer PlayStation console exclusive titles. They have all been brought over to the PC. So it does not give you incentive to get a PlayStation 5 Pro solely for these titles. I can game on my PC when it comes to these titles. So Sony has like a catch-22 there, and they want to dip in both the river water, you could say, and they have to make a decision here as to what they want to do when it comes to their titles. As a gamer, it definitely benefits PC gamers because we get to enjoy all those good old titles that we've always wanted to get our hands on. So for us, it is good. And I hope Sony continues to do that. But that brings me to the problem that Sony has with the PlayStation 5 Pro, where there is no exclusivity factor. Yes, you have a storage, but if you buy an external storage, an SSD, and then put it into your PlayStation 5, the OG PlayStation 5, in fact, I don't even have the Slim Edition, I have the OG PlayStation 5, it's still going to be a much cheaper option to upgrade my SSD. So I do not have any reasons personally to get the PlayStation 5 Pro. What about you? If you think that this common sense approach is something that you would also be doing, then let me know in the comment section. If you think that I've missed out on anything, please let me know in the comment section and I'll be happy to talk about it. So if you're a PlayStation 4 user and if you're upgrading your console, it makes sense to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro instead of the PlayStation 5. If you're a PlayStation 5 user, in my personal opinion, it does not make sense for you to upgrade over to the PlayStation 5 Pro unless you're a videophile. You can check out all those details, and if visual fidelity is the supreme priority for you, then yes, you can go ahead and shell out those extra bucks and get the PlayStation 5 Pro. To me, PlayStation 5 Pro users, I don't think the upgrade is really needed. You have the same game library, the same exclusive titles that you will have on both PlayStation 5, OG, Slim, and also on the PlayStation 5 Pro. If you are an Xbox Series X user, then yes, there are exclusive titles that you would get with a Sony PlayStation. And you should consider the Sony PlayStation, but it also depends on what kind of games you like. Do you like God of War Ragnarok versus Halo? So game titles is something that you really have to consider when you are looking at buying the PlayStation 5 Pro. If you're an Xbox Series X user, and if you're happy with the exclusive titles that you get on Microsoft's Series X or S, stay with it. You don't need to move over to PlayStation 5 Pro. But if you are still wanting to experience those exclusive titles, then instead of buying a PlayStation 5, it makes more sense for you to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro because it is the version to get as far as the PlayStation console goes. If you're a PC user, just skip it. A PC is the ultimate gaming experience when it comes to games. You cannot beat it. Consoles will not be able to beat it. So if you're a PC user, just skip the PlayStation 5 Pro, just like I am going to be skipping the PlayStation 5 Pro. These are my 2 cents, or my personal opinion about the PlayStation 5 Pro. I've also shared my reason as to why I'm not going to be looking at buying the PlayStation 5 Pro in the near or even the distant future. I, in fact, might be looking at upgrading my PC a couple of years down the line, but not the PlayStation 5 Pro. So, with that said, if you've liked the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you could consider smashing that like button and also subscribing to my channel, because I do make videos on games, gaming related products and items that I unbox and review. I, by the way, just got myself the Sony InZone Buds, so I'm going to be reviewing this as well very soon on my channel. So stick around with my channel and become a part of my community by clicking on that subscribe button and also that bell icon in case you want to get notified with all my latest videos. It's a wrap for this one. I'll see you lovely folks in my next video. Until that time, I'll say take care, stay safe, and may God bless you all.